Sanskrit, all these languages are closer. They have the same, from one root many words are formed, different meanings. So they can be interpreted in various ways. So this interpretation causes a lot of religious unrest. In Gita, you have so many interpretations, and one book was called Yet Another Book on Gita. There is a book by this title, Yet Another Book on Gita. So these kinds of interpretations. So these interpretations further cause, that is why Swamiji wanted, he said, go back to the Upanishads. He said that don't go to the commentators. You study the Upanishads by independent methods and try to understand the meaning. The Gita also. So this he wanted, because he called this text torturing. You torture a text, you try to bring out a meaning which would not have been intended by the... So I just give one anecdote and finish. That is, there was a famous Malayalam poet by name Kumaran Asan, and he was a very capable and very brilliant poet. Very young age, he wrote great masterpieces. In 1900, he translated Karma Yoga of Swami Vivekananda into Malayalam. And to me, till now, it is the best translation of Karma Yoga in Malayalam. In 1900, when Swami Vivekananda was alive, and most of the other languages, probably not even in Bengali, it was translated. This Kumaran Asan was also a professor in University of Calicut. So once when he was passing through a lecture hall, just by side, the corridor, he happened to hear an exposition or explanation of one of his poems, which was prescribed in the syllabus. So he was just hearing, he overheard a professor explaining his poem. In some countries, if you have to explain a poem, that means the poem is so bad. So poems need not, particularly in the Latin American countries and also in France. Suppose you have to explain a poem, that means the poem is so awfully written that you have to explain a poem. Anyway, but in India we take pride in explaining poems. So this person was explaining the poem and Kumaran Asan was overhearing it. And after the poem was explained, he walked into the lecture hall and said that wonderful was the explanation, because even I did not think these things when I wrote that. So this is what happens. You see, texts we try to interpret, and in the interpretation a lot of things are lost. One of the Western thinkers whose major area of study or research is interpretation, his name is Paul Ricoeur. Here I have earlier also talked about him. He talks about the triumvirate of suspicion. Three people, school of suspicion is, who are those three people? Nietzsche. So Freud talked about the libido, theory of libido, that everything is coming from the sex drive, and Nietzsche talked about nihilism, the God is dead, famously he said, and Marx said that religion is the opium of the masses. So he said that there is no religion. And so these three people brought in a wave of suspicion which still we are suffering from. And this Paul Ricoeur has written a book which is called Conflict of Interpretations. So hermeneutics is a philosophical school where interpretation is taught. It forms a part of the larger branch which deals with knowledge called epistemology. So hermeneutics of suspicion is one area Paul Ricoeur worked, and also the other area is conflict of interpretation. There are other thinkers like Paul Gadamer, etc. But the idea is this, that interpretations, different kinds of interpretations lead to conflicting opinions. So how to go back to the source and how to understand what originally it was intended. Because we are given a language which can be interpreted in so many number of ways, it becomes difficult. But that is the idea. And so Swami Vivekananda gives us some ideas. And he says that unless you practice a thought, it is difficult for you to interpret it. Intellectual gymnasium is one thing, but if you start practicing, for example, it's like recipe. So people who know recipes, see, in houses, homemakers or the old ladies, grandmas, they have created recipes. So they know that recipe, it will be written that cook for or boil for so many minutes. But it all depends on the intensity of flame, the kind of vessel you are using, but the grandma knows the color of the dal or the smell it will create when it will be properly cooked. So that you cannot be telling in his recipe, it has to be acquired. Similarly, in the Shastras, in the scriptures, these are things which you have to acquire. And interpretation, mere interpretation of the text or the words loses the significance of the whole thing. And that's why Western philosophy is an intellectual gymnasium, it's an armchair philosophy, they themselves say, because it's all intellectual. You may be a great positivist, but you may not practice it in your life. You may be a great absolutist, but you may not practice it in your life. So this is the idea.
In our portion of the class, we learned that this world is just illusion. So how can we practice it?
You practice that this world is illusion.
How should we bear that we get practice?
Every time you understand whatever action you are doing or whatever actions you are being subjected to, you keep this in mind that this is illusion. There was one king, he had a minister, maybe very intelligent like you. And this minister, he asked one day that you think you are very intelligent, so please tell me something which will make me unhappy when I am happy and which will make me happy when I am unhappy. Do you know this story? So the minister was thinking, and even this was beyond his intellect, he was thinking, so he has an intelligent daughter, and daughter said, what is this you are thinking, father? So he said this and said, okay, no, you go and tell this to the king. So the next day he went to the king, he took the crown of the king and wrote on that crown, this too will pass. And he installed a mirror and said that, king, whenever you are happy, you see this, and whenever you are unhappy, you see this. Sukheshu anudigna mana, dukkheshu vigataspuraha. These are all very simple. You call a person like me, foolish person like me, and organize such a discussion, I will give on giving lecture. But ask me to practice, it becomes very difficult. It's very simple to say, but it's very difficult to practice. But the point is, we should not give up. We should try. Today morning before coming here, I was talking with a Brahmachari Maharaj, and I asked him that suppose you were asked such questions. You see, now we will see that in these mantras, Yama will tempt Nachiketa. He will offer bribe and so much. So I said that if you had been offered all these things, what would you do? So he said that this is a difficult question. Then he said that I asked the same question when I was in training center. He was in training center, that Brahmachari Maharaj of our headquarters, to another Brahmachari, and he said that yes, I will accept the offer. The other Brahmachari said that yes, I will not be able to resist it, I will accept. And it so happened that he left the order, he went away. Obviously, monastic life was not his cup of tea. But the point is that even if you do not accept the resolution, even if I don't resolve to do something, IIT is a very tough entrance examination, everyone knows that. But if I don't even resolve to appear for that entrance examination, the point whether I will fail or succeed is a distant thing. First I have to resolve. Similarly in spiritual life, first I have to resolve that yes, so many lives have been wasted. Let me give one life for this purpose. Let me try. What will come of this?
There is a very simple explanation that usually is that because our sense organs are limited, so naturally whatever we see or whatever we know through these limited sense organs cannot be correct.
You don't need even to go so much. You see, the very simple thing is you just follow all the Bollywood actor and actresses. It's so illusory. When you see them on screen, they look so beautiful. If you go and take some appointment, or at least sometimes they put it in the newspaper, without makeup, you see. The whole world is like that. What we say is with makeup. The true reality is without makeup. The true reality is like Matrix. Matrix, you have seen that how all people are in one cube, and that is what is reality. And the projection is that everyone, and like the person, the villain in that, he takes a piece of beef and says that I want to be blissfully ignorant. Ignorance is bliss, he says. That is the dialogue in that film. So most of us want to be blissfully ignorant, but that doesn't help. You see, even you when you were small kids, when we were all small children, we had different ideas. Swami Vivekananda, his ambition when he was a small kid was that he should become a horse cart driver or an engine driver. That was his ambition. So we also had such kind of ambitions. Maybe so much of ice cream we should eat or something like that. So Pranav Mukherjee said that I should become a horse of. So he is so happy that now he is become the person who will ride those that carriage. So even if I can become this horse, such a great honor. So these are the ideas. Even in our life, we see that our ideas are also temporary. Everything is temporary. Our body is temporary. Biology will tell you that all cells are dead. Now what were there in your childhood is not there now anymore. So temporariness of everything is understood. Thank you.